All right, this is the Millennium Feather Net, and yes, it is named after the Millennium Falcon in Star Wars. It's the coolest thing in the galaxy. All right, instead of the fastest, it's the coolest. Okay, so there's 1,000 laying hens here. So these are laying hens, not meat chickens. These are laying hens, and so this netting here is space age technology. There's a stainless steel thread woven through the polyethylene that conducts the charge, the spark. That solar energizer powers the fence, and it keeps the chickens in, and it keeps the coyotes and foxes out. So who would have thought 50 years ago that you could have a coyote, fox, chicken-proof fence that only weighs 12 pounds per 150 feet, and you can take up and put down that barrier in 10 minutes? Who would have thought? So this is a perfect example of information technology as opposed to mass technology. If you wanted to build a barrier that would keep coyotes and foxes and possums out and chickens in 50 years ago, it would have been a very big, impressive barrier, right? Heavy, strong. Now, with this information dense technology, it takes the mass out of it, it takes the concrete out of it, it takes the weight out of it, and you run by innovation rather than by mass, by weight. So these guys get moved about every 3 or 4 days. You see up there where they've been, and so these are like adjacent circles. All right, so you set up one fence, then you set up another fence, and you get ready to move them. You open them both up at a waist, you pull, you hook up here to the tractor, everything just pulls through. The chickens walk into the next circle, you close that one, and then you pick this one up and you move it up here, and you just leapfrog around the field through. So the chickens are never totally free, they're always enclosed by the netting. The house is on skids, so it's an A-frame on an X-truss on skids, so it can't roll or slide, it'll take wind. The goal here is egg production. The Eggmobile, eggs are just a byproduct of that process. Here, eggs are the product, okay? And so, same kind of chickens, all pastured, but two very different models for two different objectives, okay? Right here is a time, I think, to make a point that good farming should be aesthetically and aromatically, sensually romantic. All right? If it's ugly and or it stinks, it's probably not good farming. And if just those two rules were applied to agriculture, it would fundamentally change the way all of our food and farming is done in this country. So we do an all flock in, all flock out. So these all came at one time, they're one flock. So we know who the old ones and who the young ones are. So when we get ready to select our breeding flock in the spring, we'll go to our oldest birds and select the hens from that flock. And then we'll put a set of roosters on them that we held over from roosters from this year. All right? And so the hens are old, the roosters are young. Okay? And we put those together. It's certainly not a perfect breeding program, but it's as close as we can get fairly easily, with what we're doing. This doesn't reduce any feed costs because they're getting so much exercise that they burn off some calories from the carbohydrates in the feed. So it doesn't save any feed costs. What it does give you is an edible egg. An egg with a different omega-3, omega-6 ratio, a different fat ratio. Our eggs, we participated in a study several years ago, Mother Earth News did. 12 of us in the country submitted our eggs for analysis to compare them to the USDA nutrition label on an egg carton in the store. did about 12 different nutrients. One I'll just mention to you is folic acid, which is really important for pregnant women. And the USDA label says that an egg has 48 micrograms per egg. Our eggs average 1,038 micrograms per egg. So, you know, we're not talking about 10% deviations here. We're talking about, you know, Pluto and the moon difference. I mean, there's huge, huge differences. So over the winter, they go in all those hoop houses up there at the house. We'll watch the weather, and as long as it's pretty nice, normally we can stay out here until almost Thanksgiving or even after Thanksgiving. So somewhere, give or take a week from Thanksgiving, these birds, we'll pick them up and we'll take them to the hoop house for the 100 days of hard winter. They'll come back out about March 1st. Now, while they're inside, they get deep bedding. Remember, deep bedding. We want them on compost. And in the winter, we give them whole grains just thrown on the floor. They eat about 75% of it right then, and about 25% of it, like barley, oats, wheat, sifts down into the bedding, which is warm because it's composting and has the hoop structure. It sprouts, and then the chickens dig for those sprouts, which keeps the bedding composting with aeration and gives them fresh sprouted grains in the wintertime. Bedding in the hoop houses, wood chips. Straw packs together. It laminates, and so when it packs together, they can't scratch it, they can't aerate it, all right? And so the wood chips are friable so they can scratch it, dig in it, you know, and move it around and aerate it, which then makes it active compost because it's getting oxygen. Yeah, yeah. Now, if you are using straw, for example, I ran into a guy, a dairy farmer in Ontario, and he saw what we were doing with the pig aerating and all that stuff, but he didn't have any woods. He didn't have any access to wood products. So what he did, he grew 2 acres of long-stemmed rye, you know, the old kind that your great-grandfather, you know, is like 8 feet tall. He was able to make, I think he told me, 800 little square bales an acre. So he made 2 acres, 1,600 little square bales, but he let it get old until it made seed. So it was almost like straw, but it had the seed in it. He didn't have to put anything in the bedding. He bedded his cows with that, put the pigs in. The rye seed was already there. The pigs turned it all up, so it composted in situ. And when it composted, the pigs had already torn it all up, and he could dig it out real easy. You know, if you've ever mucked out stalls with straw, you know, it'll break your back and tear up your fork, you know. But if the pigs have already torn it up as compost, it's just friable and fun to work with. So this is when I recognize and give my appreciation. I know you could have been anywhere else today besides here, but you chose to spend it with us, and we respect that, honor that, and thank you for being here. We hope you'll come back. We hope you'll bring your friends, and because every tour is different. It runs a different course. Those of you who've been on more than one, you know everyone's just a little bit different. And the questions are different, the themes are different, people are different. So please come back when you can. And we thank you for honoring us here today with your fellowship and your presence. So now, may all of your carrots grow long and straight. May your radishes be large, but not pithy. May tomato blossom end rot affect your Monsanto neighbor's tomatoes. May the coyotes be struck blind at your pastured chickens. May the rain fall gently on your fields, the wind be always at your back. Your children rise and call you blessed. And may we all make our nest a better place than we inherited. God bless you. Thank you for coming. Thanks for coming.